to begin, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Kevin Morgan Watson. I live in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I'm the publisher and editor-in-chief of Press 53. We're a small press that publishes poetry and short fiction by widely published authors all across the United States. We've got authors in 36 states now, 60% of whom are women by no design. We just like their writing. And that's about it.
Yeah, so what inspired you to start Press 53?
It's a long story. Wrote short stories and poetry and was doing okay with that. And then 9/11 happened, and I was working, my day job was working in the airline industry. So when I was writing at night, and after 9/11, a lot of people lost their jobs. I fortunately wasn't one of them, but that came 2.5 years later. After I'd gone through 2 bankruptcies with the airline, my wife, who used to be a professional singer, all those jobs went away. So we had 3 little kids at home and bills to pay, and the airline kept cutting our pay, and finally let me go. So I was looking for something to do, and no one was hiring during that time. It was very hard to find work. So I started editing for other writers and fell in love with it. That whole process, and then decided at some point when I was looking for something creative I could do, I just started the press with the idea that I'd publish maybe 1 or 2 books a year until I found a real job. But things took off. It had a mind of its own, really. I put something out there I loved, and the world, came knocking on the door. So we've been we started the press in October of 2005. So next month we celebrate our 16th anniversary.
Wow, it's really impressive. Yeah, it's came a long way. Just like a quick question to kind of throw out. So what's your favorite genre of writing?
Favorite genre of writing?
Yeah.
I'm just a fan of really good writing. I don't have a particular genre that that I prefer, because we publish a wide variety of styles and genres per se. So we're just looking for great writing, and it's always been my love. My goal from the start was not to publish for the marketplace, like what's hot today, what are people buying, all that. I just wanted to find writing that I love and then put it out there and find people who agreed with me. And that way I would never have to second guess who my market is. My market is people who like what I like. And I tell my editors to do the same thing, to find writing they love, put it out there, and let's find people who agree with you. So that's our mission.
When you're interacting with authors, like what kind of makes you more inclined to publish their work? Is it like the style of their writing? Or
boy, that's interesting. I had this thing that I really believe. Everything is energy. That's not a belief, that's a fact. Everything is energy, including the words on the page. When you're reading and the words are just in the right order and flowing the right way, the rhythm is there, and it creates this link that kind of circles through you while you're reading it. You get lost in it. Images just appear in your brain. You're seeing the story unfold as you're reading it. When you hit that, that's a sign that you're onto something really, really good. And if you can get through an entire, like a story collection, if I can get through an entire story collection and not hit any speed bumps that jolt me out of the story, like grammar, punctuation problems, things like that, or just a poorly structured sentence or a paragraph that doesn't make any sense. If you can get through a collection like that, then you get excited. So that's what I look for. There are times though that we've published collections that 1 or 2 stories in that collection didn't work for me, but the author earned my trust. I knew the author could write because I read several stories in this collection that were really, really good. So then I revisit those stories with the author and we have a discussion about it. We either edit them or remove them from the collection, but our goal is to make sure that the entire collection is cohesive.
So then what does your day-to-day schedule look like as a publisher?
Yeah, I sit behind a big desk and smoke cigars all day and bark at my underlings. It's not glamorous, it's hard work, and there's a lot of work to do. Right now, just recently I stepped down as short fiction editor, turned that over to Claire Fox, who's a young woman, volunteered for us one summer, did like an internship while she was in college, and now she's graduated grad school, and we have her back, and I've handed the reins of short fiction editing over to her. And we have a in-house poetry editor, Christopher Forrest, who lives here in Winston-Salem. he takes care of all that. So my job as publisher is to oversee everything that's going on, to keep my thumb on everything that's happening. And because we're a small press, I do the bookkeeping. I have to stay on top of the marketing. I have to be in touch with our authors. I have to find ways to make sure that if there's a holiday coming up down the road, are we ready for it? What are we going to do? Can we, so we'll meet, these days we meet online and discuss marketing. We discuss a few other things that we can do to engage our readers and keep them coming back to our website looking for new things to read.
What's the best part of your job?
The best part of my job? Yeah, one thing that really brings me a lot of joy is it just happened. I and my editors, Chris and Claire, finished judging the Prime Number Magazine Flash Fiction Prize. That's a contest we do every summer from July 1st to August 31st. So people send us their flash fiction pieces. We read them as they come in. So we're constantly reading things and fitting it in our schedule. And then we had to whittle down all the entries down to a first prize, second prize, and third prize. And then I get to notify the prize winners that they have won this prize. First prize is $251. The entry fee is very low. It's like $11. And so we pay a $251 for first prize, $151 for second, and $53 for third. And Prime Number Magazine is an online journal that we put out every quarter. I'm the editor-in-chief of that. So I have to gather everything together and then lay out the magazine. So part of my job was to notify these winners and to get their bios and their photos so we can get them in the magazine on October 1st. And the young man who took second place, this will be his very first piece of published fiction. So the very first thing he's ever published took second place in our contest, that's exciting. And we do that, it happens a few times every year with Prime Number Magazine, is we publish someone's very first piece. And that's exciting when you can deliver news to them like that. We have a manuscript contest we do every year for short fiction and for poetry. And I have the honor of calling those folks on the phone and letting them know that they won first prize, which is publication of their book, $1,000 advance and 50 copies. And that's always good when you can deliver news like that. It's nice when you can bring people joy.
This is speaking of all these contests you have, so can you explain a little bit what the 53-word story contest is and like how students can maybe get involved with it?
Yeah, that was I had an intern years ago who said, have you ever thought about having a writing like a 53-word story contest? And I said, well, I'd thought about it, but I wasn't sure how to do it or whatever. And she said, well, why don't you just tie it in with Prime Number Magazine? So I thought, oh, okay, well, we could do that. So we started putting the word out. We would send an email out to our subscribers every month with a prompt, telling them to write a story about whatever. And then maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I started keeping track of them instead of just putting them in our emails to share with people and putting them on a page in the magazine where people could go read them. And some of them have been picked up for publication elsewhere. We had one of our stories was included in W.W. Norton's, not flash fiction, micro fiction anthology, one of the 53-word stories. So that's a big honor for the writer of that. And it was a big honor for the press to have one included. But we have fun with that every month. It's a free contest. It's available to anybody around the world to enter. And we give the winner a free book, which is fun. And we publish those on the website on the Prime Number Magazine or the 53-word story contest page. You can go there, and we've got stories on our past winners that date back. I believe we started in 2017, keeping track of all the winners. And we're thinking about doing a 53-word story anthology that we have a lot of teachers who use that contest in their classroom. They find it's a very good teaching tool to teach students to be brief, get to the point, and tell a story. And so we're thinking about an anthology of those stories, maybe with some prompts in there that teachers can use in the classroom as well.
How has like COVID impacted like the field of publishing, and like have you had to make certain adjustments due to it?
For a small press like ours, it's been pretty tough. We rely on our authors getting out with their books to readings, to festivals, to conferences, things like that. Well, COVID, you don't have any of that. going on. So we shifted to an online format for a lot of that, but after a while you get really tired of doing stuff like that online. This isn't the same.
Yeah.
It's like I tell people, when someone asked me one time, are we ever going to quit doing print books and just do ebooks? And I said, no. I said, because I think print books will go out of style when blankets go out of style. And for the same reason, there's a comfort to holding a book in your hand. It's a sensual experience. All of your senses are engaged when you're holding a book and reading it. So if you're reading a book on a Kindle, there's kind of a disconnect there with the author. When you're holding that book, you feel kind of connected to the words and to the author and all that. So it's difficult to have readings online and to sell a lot of books unless you're a very, very popular author.
And that's yeah, I actually learned a lot today about, writing and publishing in general. So and I actually didn't know a lot about it before coming into this interview. So it was, really nice chatting about it, and it was nice to meet you.
Well, I was glad to talk to you about it. Thank you for having me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Y'all have a great day.
You too. Bye.
You too.
Bye-bye.